Welcome back to Mental Work. I'm Bron.
And I'm Rach.
Cool. That's how we're starting.
Okay.
Yeah. And hopefully you are a faithful listener by now. I'm just going to keep on saying it until they become faithful listeners.
Yeah, I think that's hound them into it. That's a good move.
Yeah.
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 That's how it usually works.
Today we are talking about very good and very bad supervision.
Yes.
Mm.
No middle. Both extremes.
Yeah. I thought both extremes sounded more compelling.
Yes. And we do want to compel you.
Yes. It's nobody likes on social media if you just talk about the middle, the greyness. Everybody wants the black and white.
Oh, I thought you said grey nurse, like a grey nurse shark. I was like, I don't know. I find sharks quite interesting. But
I do too.
I don't know. Grey nurse, are they those ones that they're quite docile and then at feeding time they can get really they just go nuts?
Oh, I didn't know that. The first word that came into my head was that the grey nurse is inoffensive. So I did think that they were docile, but I didn't know that they went nuts at
Maybe I'm thinking
feeding.
of reef sharks. I think I'm thinking of reef sharks.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think grey nurses are just nice all round. Nice all rounders.
Okay, well, write in and let us know if we are wrong, which we most likely are. Okay, shark chat over. Supervision, eh?
Yeah, I think with supervision, this is why I was interested in doing an episode on it, and we'll get into this with our personal experiences.
Yeah.
But damn, it's so easy to find shit supervision, and finding good supervision is rare in my personal experience, but we're expected to have supervision.
Yes.
Like all mental health workers are, whether that's in your workplace or in training or placement.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of supervision is so that they can guide you, train you, help you have better client outcomes.
Yes, hopefully.
Enhance you as a professional and in your personal life, and encourage self-care.
Wow. So many things.
Yeah. And
I'm maybe starting to get why it can be a bit tricky. There's lots of boxes to tick there, isn't there?
don't empathise with them, Rachel.
Okay. Sorry. I'm on the wrong side of the fence.
Who are you with? There is a lot to supervision.
Yeah.
And it just sucks that, I guess, the goal of supervision is to do that, but in practice it seems to be very difficult to find. So I was really interested in talking about why this is, but also, I guess, through some of our personal experiences, some of the warning signs of bad supervision and of good supervision, because I've had both. I've had really good and I've had really bad. Have you had really good and really bad?
Yes, as have I.
Yes.
It seems to be a common experience.
And just to be fair, there has been, I think, one middle supervisor, in the middle of that, but because they don't
the grey nurse.
Yeah, the grey nurse of supervision. The inoffensive grey nurse.
Sure.
The thing about that is, I was looking at a few studies when I was kind of preparing for this, and it's even systematic reviews have found that really good supervision can reduce the risk of burnout and help people stay longer in their workplaces, while inadequate supervision can lead to stress and burnout and actually be harmful. So on one hand, it can actually enhance you as a professional and personally, and on the other hand, it can be quite harmful.
Yeah.
So it's really important to make sure that people actually do get good supervision.
And I think setting up from the start as well, from those placement experiences, setting up what students and workers should be expecting from their supervision.
Yeah. And that is, one of my takeaways where I'm
right.
Okay. You need to have it in your mind. Why are we meeting? What is this for?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think often it can just be a tick box approach, can't it? Where it's okay, we've got supervision booked in fortnightly because we have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But what are we actually doing?
And for me, it's if you've got supervision booked in fortnightly, that's an hour or two of your time.
Yeah. It's a good chunk, isn't it?
You want that to be useful, ideally. So let's have a talk then about our experiences with supervision. You ready?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start with this, but it's okay, I'll take you through, I guess, so coming from my perspective as a psychologist and having supervision, we had to get supervision. First supervisor, inoffensive, they were a grey nurse. Yep, that's fine. Second supervisor was for my placement, excellent supervision.
Okay.
And then it was the majority supervisor while I was getting my hours, so accruing them as a provisional trainee psychologist, that ended up being terrible and really shattering my trust. And from then on, it really actually depleted my trust. Like, is that trauma? That it fundamentally changed my
sounds fun.
My beliefs about myself and other people. Kind of sounds like that. I feel distressed when I think about it. Yeah.
That sounds quite bad.
It sounds bad. And then most recently, I've had an excellent supervision experience as well. So it's really kind of like changed the balances. But do we want to start with a very good or very bad supervision first?
Oh, lucky dip.
Okay. Oh, I wish we had a hat.
I know. We don't have the props. Sorry, listeners. We don't have the props. How about, let's finish on a good one, yes?
Oh, okay.
So how about we start on a bad one then?
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to draw a straw, so who goes first?
Are they cheese straws?
Sure.
I had a really good breakfast today, by the way.
Was it a cheese straw?
No, it wasn't. But there was cheese straws at the housewarming I went to yesterday.
That's so cool.
Yeah. There was actually like a massive charcuterie board. It was like the whole width of the dining table.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was quite intimidating as well. It made me think I can never invite these people to my house. These people are too posh for me.
I guess you have to maintain that facade now and never show them your house.
Yeah, that's not too hard. Yeah, okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
No one's welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess like with bad supervision, I mean, let me just kind of draw it out. How did I know it was bad?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And is there a common bad, or is it just dependent on each individual?
I reckon there is common threads that make supervision bad. And at the time, I didn't know it was bad. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
So I guess this is how you kind of think of everything. So it's like as a, provisional psychologist going into supervision, there are like a little bit of red flags, I just call them that.
Sure.
And I was like, is this unusual? But I'm like, this must have been the way that they do it with everyone.
Okay.
So I would dismiss it and kind of like fit my experience into like, no, I'm sure they're competent. I'm sure they're trained. And you would have that trust.
Yes.
And then it was only when they fudged me over that I was like, in hindsight, everything was terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I can give you a few examples. So the main thing that stands out in my mind as big red flag number one was they talked about themselves way too much.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I'm not talking about like 30-second anecdotes. I'm talking literally I'm sitting there, an anxious wreck trying to get help, and they'll be taking me through a 15-minute story.
15 minutes is too long, bro.
It is.
Right.
And that would be every time. And it'd be impossible for me to escape that anecdote. Like I was expected to sit there, I felt, and then laugh and nod.
Give feedback.
Yes.
Right.
Be receptive to this story.
Yes. That's not great.
Whereas like I'm sitting there looking at my list of dot points and, quite early, the type of supervision that trainees need is that very specific guidance.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, everything's kind of new to you, right? You're navigating this new world.
Literally don't know what you're doing. You need that. You need guidance, reassurance. You need them to be like, okay, here's what you do step by step. And so I'm sitting there very anxiously and they're taking me through 15-minute things. This is like, hour and a half of supervision.
Yeah.
And it takes up a significant chunk. So then I was always walking away, another red flag from supervision, not getting the help that I needed.
Right. Yes. So if you feel that your list hasn't been checked off, you feel unfulfilled, don't feel good walking away from that.
No.
Then red flag.
And remember, like you are paying, unless this is in a workplace, you are paying for your list to be unfulfilled.
And I suppose that's why you go with it, right?
Yes.
It's because you think, I'm paying this person X amount of money. They must be good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like they have X amount of experience. It's that whole kind of thing where you don't question authority.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like it could have been helpful if it was, I guess, deliberate use of lived experience like we've talked about. And it could have been helpful if it linked in with mine and it was like kind of, here's what I've experienced, here's how I've come through it. But one of the most, it connected. It could have been helpful. But one of the most difficult things that they shared with me was kind of, I was trying to get help around trauma, how to help a patient with trauma. And so they took me through their traumatic experience.
Oh, wow.
In very specific details.
Oh, wow.
And I was not ready for that. And I think that lasted about half an hour of the session.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I still feel like upset when I think about it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine any clinical purpose to doing that. They just seemed to enjoy telling it to me.
Like, I understand you're experiencing some difficulties with a client that has trauma. Let me just pile more trauma on top of that for you. And let me just exacerbate that sense of not being able to help.
Well, like it definitely did that. If that was their aim, it was very effective. It did leave feeling more helpless. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Tick.
Yeah. So there was that. And then other things were they would forget details about me. So
no, that's so basic.
It is quite
just
basic.
Just like look at the notes beforehand.
I know. Yeah. They would claim that they were really about feedback and I was like, oh, great. I was really excited. Never asked me for feedback.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there was no opportunity led by them as well to kind of do that.
Yeah, okay.
The final straw was when for about a year, they'd been saying that I could come work in their practice.
Oh.
And then the week.
Is that appropriate as well, though?
No, see, that's another red flag, I think.
Okay.
And so even at the time, this was like a bit too suspicious for me. I was like, you can feel free to not do that. I wasn't trying to worm my way into their practice.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was deliberately saying to them, I was like, it's okay if you don't have space for me. Like, don't feel you have to do this. Like, it's okay.
Interesting.
And they were like, oh, no, like, I don't really understand. Like, were they trying to tell me, like, I know, were they just trying to make themselves seem more helpful? Again, it was that kind of disconnection.
Yeah, but if you, that's right. So if there's that disconnection and you're not getting what they're putting down, then something's amiss.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, but something's amiss.
It is. And so anyway, I went along with the plot and I was like, okay, so we kind of set up, I checked out their rooms. I was like, okay, like this could work.
Yeah, wow, okay.
And then the week before that I was supposed to start at the clinic, I had booked in 5 patients. I was really proud of myself, first day of private practice. And I'd booked in like a full day for myself. And then 3 days, maybe it was 5. I'll give them a bit of leeway. It was about 5 days before I was supposed to start my first day. I remember I've got all my patients booked in.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're not welcome at the practice. We want more experienced clinicians.
What?
Yeah. And so they sent me that by an email. They were aware that I had my clients booked. There is no like kind of ignorance like that that they didn't know.
So this sounds very bad.
I think it fits into the very bad category.
How do we so I don't know what it's like in, say, the world of psychology.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go about finding a supervisor, or like what places do you look to get a supervisor?
Yeah.
And what are kind of, I suppose, in retrospect, what are maybe some of the signs that were red flags? Or can you just not tell?
I think you can't, because they're supposed to be board accredited supervisors.
Right.
So, they've gone through these training programs. They're supposed to adhere to a standard. And so theoretically you should be able to find any supervisor and then it's okay.
Right, yeah.
So the way that you find them in psychology is you go to, I guess, a central website, you email the shit out of everyone, you send out like 100 emails.
Do they have like little dating profiles up? Like, hey, I enjoy like talking about my own trauma.
I wish they did. I wish they did have dating profiles. They didn't. It's just kind of like their name and number and like email and
like
what they
areas
supervise.
of specialty?
Yeah, no, not even areas of specialty. It's just which programs they supervise.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So you don't even know, like you're just going off a name basically.
Yeah. I mean, you can do background checks and it's like, but I did. And it's like I Googled them. But then crucially, and this is when like I realized in hindsight that everything was fucked, is that after they told me that I couldn't come to their practice, I found some reviews of them online and I hadn't seen these reviews, and I went through all of these reviews.
Yeah.
There were multiple and I was like, wow, this is everything I've experienced.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that validating?
It was very validating.
Okay.
Because all the patients were like, X talks about themselves too much. And I was like, fuck yeah, he does.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So that was very validating. I don't know how you can mitigate it from the start, but maybe if you can get the earliness and
do we need to be more picky? Do we need to like
possibly
value, I suppose, value ourselves going into it?
Yeah.
Know what we want, what we benefit from?
I think so. I feel like it's a bit of that. I also feel like perhaps if I had told other people exactly what was happening in my supervision sessions, maybe then they could have been like, I don't think that's normal.
So a bit of feedback from, speaking of, feedback.
Yes.
Bit of feedback from peers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because I remember one of my peers sharing like her supervision experience with me, and I was like, yeah, that ain't normal, mate. Like they were talking about like extensively looking up patients like on Facebook and stuff.
Oh, whoa.
And my friend was like, is that normal? And I'm like, it kind of doesn't sound normal.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
So Rachel, now that I've heard my enlightening story of bad supervision.
Yeah, some red flags there.
Yeah, some red flags. And also, I guess, some ways to move forward in the future, which is really like listen to those red flags, get external thoughts about the supervisor.
Yes.
Do a Google search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that peer feedback can be really valuable.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess in terms of social work, like I've never actually had supervision external to my workplace. So it is something that I am thinking about doing. So some of these red flags would be quite helpful. And you can do that in terms of social work. You can look up on the AASW, which is like the member thing. You can look up, find a supervisor and things like that.
And do they have dating profiles?
Well, no, I don't think so. I looked at it briefly. They have scant information, probably so that they can appeal to the masses. But I don't know if I trust it. It's like, it's like if on Tinder someone's bio is like real short, like here for a fun time, not a long time or some shit like that. And then you're just like, no, bro.
And do they have pictures? Like, did you see like whether they had
No.
Yeah, they don't have pictures in the psychology.
Because I like them to have pictures.
Well, I was going to say like I also like them to have pictures, but a red flag would be like if they were really, really attractive, which like they should like, social workers and psychologists can be very attractive. Like there's no rule against that.
Sure.
But maybe I just feel like because like dating profiles and like catfishing and stuff, I'm like maybe if they're ridiculously good looking.
It can be a bit intimidating or distracting.
Yes, I agree. Anyway.
I haven't had any very good looking supervisors.
I'll refrain from commenting.
Okay. So I guess I've had a pretty mixed bag as well, and it has depended on which organisation I'm working for.
Yeah.
But I think what I've found kind of the bad experiences have been more where it has been misleading in that sense where you go through the induction at the workplace and everything is like puppies and rainbows. It's like, oh, we love feedback. We're so true to our values. Look at us living our values and shit.
Yes.
We're just so about the mission, bro. Everything's, I've said bro a lot in this episode. I don't know what was I watching just before this. I must have picked up on something.
New Zealand show. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I still think that's the best drink driving ad I've ever seen. That New Zealand one where he's like, I don't want your ghost chips, bro. It's the best. It's the best drink driving ad I've ever seen.
New Zealand does have excellent ads, like that porn one. Have you seen the porn one?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, good.
I'll show you.
Okay.
But maybe don't Google like New Zealand porn or something. But maybe New Zealand porn ad.
Yeah,
it's really good.
okay.
And like these porn stars like answer the door naked because this little kid's been looking up porn, and so the porn stars actually come to the front door and they're like, "Yeah, just wanted to let you know that like little Billy's here, like been looking at us, and but you can't see anything, but the implication is that they are very naked, and it's like just make sure you know what your kid's doing."
Yeah, I love New Zealanders.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Yeah. So where was I? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
where it's very misleading and, it's like we value supervision. If you don't gel well with your supervisor, please let us know. Like it's always good to stand up and like you can request a change if you want to. Guess what? You can't request a change.
So is the red flag with them saying all this stuff? Because I feel like a commonality between us is that like they both said they like feedback and then it's like, eh.
People that say they like feedback are generally psychopaths.
Yeah. It's so true.
I mean, I don't wish to generalise, but I would say I'm 90% correct on that.
I can be 90% correct as well. Like, and when I say to my clients that I'm good with feedback, I usually have to follow up and I'm like, no, genuinely, like if you say something to me, because it's so true.
Yes. Yeah, people don't trust it, do they? And there's a reason why. But I think to be honest, like the majority of my bad experiences, it hasn't necessarily come down to incompetence as a social worker or, things like that. It's more, I'd say, laziness, where supervision is approached as a real just something we have to do. It's a box we have to tick to make sure our asses are covered.
Yes.
And you've had supervision in quotation marks.
Yeah.
And it's a tool used to check up on you operationally. So where are you at with your KPIs? Where is, things at with this case and that case? And it's not really reflective or developmental.
That is so true. That is so on the money, because I've had the same thing at an organisation where there would be like group supervision, but it was just like checking up on our KPI. So it's just like our work meeting, but they would call it group supervision. Yeah. And I'm like, mate, this ain't supervision.
Yes. So I think it can be a bit of a misunderstanding, particularly when you're getting the supervision from within organisations and it is kind of operationally based.
Yeah.
Then that can be really difficult to sometimes separate, because management have things they need to check off. Yes. They have limited time, I guess. So they think supervision is a great place to do that.
but I mean, like, and this comes to like one of my takeaway, which is like really agreeing, like what is supervision? Like clearly they have an idea of supervision. They're like, we're going to whack this label on and we're going to like check on your KPIs and stuff. But for the person in the workplace, it's like, no, I need your support and mentorship.
Yeah. And what does that actually look like? Should I tell you about my good experience?
Yeah, please do.
Because this kind of feeds in well to that, because my second placement, I had a really excellent supervisor and she kind of set my expectations quite high, I suppose. But she, like, what does that actually look like in practice? And she broke it down into 3 components. Like supervision should have 3 components, and all of those components are equally important. So one aspect is your professional development. So even if something might not be directly related to your current work or your current cases, if it's something an area you're interested in growing or learning more about, or something that they can impart their experience on, or looking up courses or whatever it might be, that's going to work for you. So professional development is one aspect. Second aspect being that operational stuff in that. Where are your cases at? How are they going? Do you need any? Are you stuck with anything? Let's workshop what's happening there. And then the third aspect being that personal reflection. So that's where you grow. You're looking at you as a person within the work. What impact are you having on the work and vice versa? And how, what are you bringing to it? Is there anything triggering you? Is there any areas where you need to kind of pare back or grow?
So how did you know that was good supervision for you?
I knew that was good supervision for me. It's a good question. Basically because I wasn't trying to avoid it.
That's a great.
I walked away feeling like I had actually learnt something or taken a step forward in some way, because I actually prepared for it, because I went, okay, this is what I want to talk about today, and I was actually investing in it somewhat.
That's so true.
And it wasn't just like a tick box thing, and I did feel like I was growing.
Those are all really good things, and those are how you want to feel. Like those are all really good signs. And it also, that speaks to my experiences as well. Like with my good supervisors, yes, I've wanted to be there. I've prepared. I've been like, okay, here's the things I want to talk about, and I could feel good knowing that they would ask me and that I would get that support. Even with good supervision, I've had 2 great supervision experiences. And the first one, I would literally like write down questions and I'd be like, oh, I'm so looking forward to hearing what my supervisor has to say about this. Yeah, definitely not avoiding and approaching.
Approaching, yes.
Yeah, that's great. And, you don't need like, I guess, scales or checklists or like, to kind of get that sense of those things that are good about supervision. Like you can really trust your gut.
Yeah. That's the thing, and I think it's about, and often where we don't think we can trust our gut straight away because we are new.
Yes.
And, we don't have that experience yet, so we're hesitant to trust our gut. And also I think coming from a bit of a scientific background as well, like the social sciences, psychology, all that.
Yeah.
You're kind of in a position where you kind of learn, you shouldn't just be doing things on gut instinct. You should be doing things based on evidence.
Yeah.
But the fact is what we call our gut instinct is the culmination of our experience and our knowledge.
It is. It's very true. That's a very poignant way of putting it. Well done.
Poignant.
I don't even know that's how you.
I like that word.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it correctly.
No, it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, again, write in and let us know if we are incorrect about this and everything else.
I need to have like Google Voice like here so I can tell me. Because sometimes like I read words and then I never say them out loud. And I think poignant is one of those words that I often read in books, but I never say out loud. So
okay. See, I say everything aloud in my head as I read. And it was only recently I realised that not everyone does that.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I see and read everything. Like, I know it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like 2 voices in your head.
I have multiple voices in my head.
That's very interesting.
Yes. I also see things.
On the coming back from Rachel's altered reality, on the supervision, like, yeah, it's really nice it's very validating having that good supervision experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's also good to know that not everyone, you aren't going to gel with everyone.
No.
It's not all going to be a good experience. And I think we do need to, walk the walk in terms of valuing ourselves.
Yeah.
So if something isn't working for us, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe check in with your peers, things like that. Just to see if you're on the right track.
Yeah.
But it's okay to change as well.
I think it's okay to change. Yeah. I've done that as well. Friends raved about a supervisor and I was like, oh, great. I was like, because my trust was low after the terrible one. And I was like, great, like I'll go to this one. And then what I realized is that supervisor seemed to work for my friends, but not for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's all right. That's all right.
And it's just like, as a psychologist or as a social worker, we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
No.
Not everyone's going to enjoy our great vibes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is like recognizing that it's okay to not have a good fit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because you cannot please everyone.
No. Yeah. And like if the space is there to give feedback, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be very widely adopted.
No. So what are the other ways, I guess, what are the other takeaways then if we're not able to, if that feedback isn't adopted or, we're not able to, I guess, peruse the Tinder profile beforehand and we don't know what their jam is, what else can we do?
I would say through my experience, and this is how I did it with my PhD supervisors as well, which was really coming in knowing exactly what I wanted to get out of that meeting.
Sure.
So I would pre-email them ahead talking points. So I wouldn't call it an agenda because I just thought that sounded too imposing sort of thing.
Wanky.
Yeah, like you guys are going to talk about what I want to talk about. So I'd send them talking points. And I remember them commenting on that. And they're like, ooh, talking points. And I was like, yes.
Ooh la la. I think that's quite helpful. I would appreciate someone sending me talking points because I would be like, okay, great. I know what we're talking about going into it. I can prepare my own mind space.
So if you're not like getting that focus or direction or they're not bringing up that reflective part, I feel like that reflective part you're talking about, like your reactions to patients is like the thing that gets dropped.
That can easily get dropped.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing is that all 3 of those components are equally as important.
I really love that. That's so good. So like if you want that on your agenda, then send them that.
And you can even frame it like that. Hey, like you can put your talking points under each of those subheadings.
And so you can like manage your supervisor in a way.
Yes.
And like I've done that and I think it's worked quite well. And
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's a two-way relationship. And I think that's where I've sometimes gotten frustrated is perhaps because I've been run down as a worker and I've expected them to just bring everything to the table and to kind of, I haven't had the energy to, them to be like, just fix me already.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not really their job either.
I don't know. I mean, in some most of supervision, they might be like it is their responsibility, I guess, just to check in and ensure that you are using like self-care strategies or that if you have any problems, troubleshooting that with you.
Yes.
But it is a two-way relationship. But sometimes, like all relationships, sometimes if you're feeling unwell or you need more help, then the other person does like give you an extra hand.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So it's a dynamic.
It's dynamic.
It's a dynamic two-way relationship.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's like my takeaway for moving forward. Like, did you have anything to add?
No, I think that's like the key points that we've talked about has really covered it off.
Yeah.
But I think it's finding the right fit for you and it's okay to approach it a little bit like dating.
Yeah, I think so.
A bit of the old fuck politeness, which I've really taken on that saying.
Yeah. And I really like that approach as well because I was part of a supervision study actually. So my last supervisor, I was meeting with them once a month as part of their study.
Wow.
And then it's a randomized controlled trial. So now I have to go into the no supervision group. So now I'm on the market looking for another supervisor now and I'm just like, I'm not sure I'm ready to go out and date again.
Yes. Well, it can be quite effortful, can't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's what you're saying about knowing what you want to get out of it is really important.
Yeah.
And, knowing how frequently it is useful will maybe depend on what kind of job you're doing at the time as well.
Absolutely.
And the context.
Yeah. So I did ask them, my last supervisor, I was like, I've loved this supervision. Can you actually recommend me anyone that's like you or has a similar style?
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to follow that up when I'm ready. But
wow. Well, best of luck in the dating world.
Thank you.
Supervisor dating world, let's see.
Supervisor dating.
Oh my God, it could be a new reality show.
It could be.
Oh my God. Let's call it Let Me Supervise You. And it would be like, instead of will you accept this rose, it would be like, will you accept this contract? Will you accept this non-disclosure statement?
Oh, they gave me a non-disclosure.
Oh my God.
Copyright Bron Rach.
NDA.
Yeah. And with that, we will finish up. As always, I did have a listener call out for this episode, yes, because I was thinking if anybody wanted to share with us their very bad or very good. Oh,
yes, please.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
We want to hear your disaster stories too.
Yeah.
And your good stories as well, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear your good stories as well, just to kind of provide some data there that the world isn't hopeless and completely trash.
Yes. Let us know about your non-trash humans that you've encountered.
Yeah, non-trash humans.
Non-trash humans.
But also,
oh my God, that could be our new segment. Non-trash humans.
I like that.
Okay.
But if you need to get off your chest, your trash humans.
Yeah.
So you can do that by sending us an email at mentalworkpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send a voice message there as well, or just check us out on the socials. We're on Insta and Facebook.
Sure are.
Send us a message.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you.
And I'm going to try out my new sign off. I was thinking just peace. So I was going to be like, peace.
Sure. I mean, look, give it a whirl.
I'm already I'm never going to do that again.
Okay.
Do you have a sign off that you want to give a try?
See you, brute.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.